reality died, and Instagram danced on its grave, you think Instagram is a platform for sharing experiences, but I tell you, Instagram is a murder weapon. What it killed was not just innocence or privacy or mental health, though it killed those too. What Instagram killed was reality itself, the experience, the moment, the place. Before Instagram, places existed. Now there are only locations, backdrops, sets designed to be photographed and abandoned. I am Jean Baudrillard, and I have been warning you about this for decades. The map would replace the territory. I said, the image would become more real than reality. I said, but even I could not have imagined how perfect the killing would be, how complete, how you would not only participate in the murder, but celebrate it, document it, curate it, and call it living. Welcome to the world, Instagram made, where nothing exists unless it is photographed, where experience has been replaced by evidence of experience, where you are both the photographer and the photographed, and neither is actually alive. Let me tell you when it happened. When the murder occurred, when reality took its last breath, and Instagram stood over the body with a ring light and a smile, it was not 2010 when the app launched, it was not 2012 when Facebook bought it. It was not any single moment. It was gradual, a slow strangulation, death by 1,000 filters. But there is a moment I can point to, a moment that crystallizes everything, a moment that reveals the murder was already complete. The rainbow bagel. Do you remember? Around 2016, a cafe in Brooklyn created a bagel with rainbow-colored dough. Not because it tasted better, not because it was more nutritious, but because it photographed well, because it was Instagrammable. And people lined up for hours to get a rainbow bagel. They would not eat, they would photograph it, post it, accumulate likes, and throw it away. The bagel existed only to be an image. It had no purpose beyond its own representation. It was a simulacrum, a copy with no original, a thing designed from the beginning to be a photograph, not food. This is when reality died, when we started creating things, not to be experienced but to be documented, when the image became the purpose and the thing itself became irrelevant. The rainbow bagel is the perfect metaphor for Instagram's murder of reality. It looks like food. It is technically food, but it exists only as content, as evidence, as post. You are not eating. You are producing proof that you ate, and the proof is more important than the eating. Let me show you the crime scene. Let me show you what Instagram has done to the world. Your travel is not travel, it is a photo shoot. You do not go to Paris to experience Paris. You go to Paris to photograph yourself in front of the Eiffel Tower in a pose you have seen 1,000 times before. The trip exists to become posts. 20, 30 posts, scheduled releases, evidence that you traveled. But did you see anything? Or did you see everything through a screen? Composing shots, checking lighting, ensuring the documentation was perfect. You were physically in Paris, but experientially you were in Instagram, planning posts, thinking in captions, living for the feed. The place does not matter, only the location matters. The GPS pin, the geotag, the background. Paris could be a painted backdrop. It would serve the same function. Because you are not experiencing Paris, you are collecting Paris as an image, as content, as proof of a life that looks lived but was never actually lived. Your restaurants are not restaurants, they are studios. Every dish designed for photography, every plate arranged for overhead shots, every interior decorated, not for comfort or ambience, but for social media shareability. The Instagrammable cafe is a phrase that should horrify you. It means a place designed not to be experienced, but to be background. a set, a prop in your content production. You are not dining, you are staging. The food must be photographed from multiple angles before it can be touched. The meal grows cold while you arrange it. Adjust lighting. Apply filters. The taste is irrelevant. The aesthetic is everything. And restaurants know this. They design for it. The neon signs that say "but first coffee" or "good vibes only," these are not decorations. They are photo ops. They are giving you the content you came for. They are complicit in the murder. Your relationships are not relationships, they are couples content. The Instagram boyfriend exists to take photos of the Instagram girlfriend. The trip is not for the couple, it is for the couple's feed. The kiss is not for each other, it is for the audience, for the likes, for the validation. Love has been replaced by the performance of love, and the performance has become more real than the feeling. You do not ask, "Are we happy?" You ask, "Do we look happy?" And if the photos are good, the answer is yes. Even if the relationship is hollow, even if you are miserable. Because the image is what counts. The image is the reality. Your body is not your body. It is your personal brand. Your face is a product optimized through filters, angles, lighting. You no longer know what you look like. You know what you look like through the front-facing camera with the beauty filter enabled. That is your face now. The filtered version, the edited version, the version that never existed. And when someone sees you in person, there is disappointment. Not because you are unattractive, but because you are not as optimized as your profile. Reality cannot compete with its own advertisement. You have become inferior to your own simulation. This is the murder Instagram committed. It did not kill people. It killed the realness of people, the unmediated experience of being human. But here is where it becomes truly diabolical. Where the murder becomes perfect, you cannot stop. Even if you understand what is happening, you cannot stop. Because opting out of Instagram means opting out of visibility. And in a world where visibility equals existence, opting out means ceasing to exist. If you do not document your life, did it happen? If your relationship is not Instagram official, does it exist? If you go on vacation and do not post, were you really on vacation? The answer, terrifyingly, is no. Not socially, not in the collective consciousness. You must document to exist. You must produce content to be real. The performance is mandatory. And even if you delete Instagram, you are still living in the Instagram world. Because Instagram did not just change how we use an app. It changed reality itself. It changed what places are for, what experiences are for, what we are for. We are content generators, walking cameras, curators of lives that exist primarily as archives of images, living for the future moment when we look back at the photos, which is insane. We are living now to produce evidence for later. The present has been sacrificed to the archive. Let me explain the philosophical mechanism. How Instagram achieved the murder. How it turned reality into representation, and representation into reality. Stage 1. The reflection. In the beginning, Instagram reflected life. You took photos of things you were already doing. The party happened, and you photographed it. The food was ordered for eating, and you photographed it. Instagram was subordinate to reality, a documentation tool. Stage 2. The distortion. Then Instagram began to shape life. You started choosing activities based on how they would photograph. The party happened, but you were conscious of the camera. The food was ordered, but aesthetic became a factor. Instagram was now influencing reality, but reality was still primary. Stage 3, the replacement. This is where it accelerated. You started doing things only to photograph them. The party existed to become content. The food was ordered because it was photogenic, not because you wanted to eat it. Instagram became more important than the experience. The documentation became the purpose. Stage 4, pure simulation. This is where we are now. There is no experience outside of Instagram. Everything is pre-designed to be content. Places exist to be backdrops. Food exists to be posted. Relationships exist to be couple goals. Reality has been entirely replaced by its representation. The image is not of anything. The image is everything. This is simulacra. This is hyperreality. This is the murder made complete. Instagram did not document reality. Instagram replaced reality. And you helped. Let me show you how deep the murder goes. How total the replacement is. There are now entire businesses that exist only to be photographed. Pop-up museums, immersive experiences, Instagram walls. These are not museums. These are photo studios disguised as experiences. You pay $30 to enter a series of rooms designed for photos. You move through them quickly, snapping shots in each one. You leave. You have experienced nothing except the production of content, and you call this an experience. There are now entire cities that exist primarily as Instagram destinations. Santorini, Bali, Tulum. Yes, they are real places with real people living in them. But their economy now runs on Instagram tourism. People who come not to experience the culture or the landscape, but to get the shot. The white buildings and blue domes, the rice terraces, the beach swing, the same photos, the same angles, the same poses, thousands of people replicating the same image. They are not traveling, they are pilgriming to photo locations. And the locals have adapted, they have turned their cities into film sets. They know what you came for, they give it to you, they monetize your need for content. And everyone pretends this is tourism, this is cultural exchange. But it is not, it is content production. It is the simulation of travel without any actual travel occurring. There are now entire human identities that exist only on Instagram. Influencers who have no personality, no talent, no contribution, except being photographed, living a life that looks desirable. Their job is to be looked at, to be envied, to be the representation of a life others want. But the life is fake. The sponsored posts, the gifted stays, the carefully managed image. Everything is advertising. Everything is performance. And teenagers look at this performance and think, that is what life should look like. They think the simulation is the standard. They think reality is deficient because it does not look like Instagram. This is the final stage of the murder. When the generation that has only ever known Instagram grows up thinking Instagram is what reality is supposed to be. When the simulation becomes the only reference point, when there is no memory of anything else. You want to know what was lost? What Instagram killed? Boredom was lost. The ability to sit with nothing happening and be okay with it. Now there must always be content, always something to document, always the scroll. Silence is intolerable. Stillness is wasted. Every moment must be productive, must be capturable, must be postable. Privacy was lost, not just in the sense of data, but the privacy of experience, the ability to have something be just yours, to not share it, to not document it, to let it exist only in memory, which fades and distorts and eventually vanishes. That was beautiful, that was human, that is gone. Presence was lost. The ability to be fully in a moment without the part of your brain composing the caption, without checking how it would look as a photo, without thinking about the audience, just being there, just experiencing. That is almost impossible now. Authenticity was lost, not in the sense of being genuine, that is vague and probably always was a construction, but authenticity in the sense of unmediated, unfiltered, unoptimized, the messy, unpolished, unflattering reality of being human. That has been exiled. That is no longer permissible. Everything must be curated. Everything must be the best version. Everything must be content ready. And what was gained? What did Instagram give you in exchange for murdering reality? Likes, hearts, followers, engagement, validation from strangers, a feed of other people's simulations that makes you feel inadequate, an endless scroll that makes you feel anxious, a metric of worth that has nothing to do with actual worth, a life that looks lived but is not lived. This is the bargain. This is what you traded reality for, and you cannot even say you were tricked, because you participated willingly, eagerly. You lined up for the rainbow bagel. Now let me tell you something that will disturb you. That disturbs me. Instagram will die. Maybe it already is dying. Replaced by TikTok or whatever comes next. The platform will fade, but the condition will remain. Because Instagram did not create the condition, Instagram revealed it, accelerated it, perfected it, but the condition, the replacement of experience with documentation, of reality with image, of being with seeming, that is deeper than any app. It is the logic of late capitalism, of spectacle, of hyper-reality. And it will not die when Instagram dies. It will just find new forms, new platforms, new ways to murder reality and dance on its grave. You think you are waiting for something after Instagram, some return to normalcy, some recovery of reality. But there is no after. There is only the next iteration of the same thing, more optimized, more addictive, more total. The murder is permanent. Reality is not coming back. You cannot unkill it. So what now? What do you do with this knowledge? How do you live in a world where Instagram killed reality and you were complicit? Some of you want me to offer hope, a solution, a way to resurrect reality, to reclaim experience from its documentation. But I am not a priest. I am a diagnostician. And my diagnosis is terminal. You cannot uninstall Instagram from reality. Even if you delete the app, you are still living in the world Instagram made, where everything is optimized for being photographed, where experience has been replaced by its archive, where the image is all there is. You can resist, you can refuse to photograph your meal, you can go to Paris and not take a single photo of the Eiffel Tower. You can have a relationship that exists only between you and the other person, undocumented, unshared, unproven, but you will feel the absence, the lack, the sense that without documentation, it did not fully happen. Because Instagram trained you to think that way. It colonized your consciousness. It changed what existence feels like. And even your resistance will be performed. Even your digital minimalism will become an identity. A thing to post about, to document. The refusal to document becomes a thing to document. There is no outside, there is no escape. The murder is complete, and you are living in the crime scene, taking selfies with the body. Let me tell you about the place I once described, the desert of the real, the wasteland behind the simulation, the void that opens up when you strip away all the images and representations and discover there is nothing there, no authentic experience, no unmediated reality. Just more images, more representations, all the way down. Instagram is not hiding the desert of the real. Instagram is the desert of the real. It is the perfect visualization of a world where there is nothing but surface, nothing but image, nothing but the endless production and consumption of content that refers to nothing but other content. You scroll through Instagram and see thousands of images of people living, but none of them are living. They are producing the image of living, and you are consuming the image. And you call this experience, you call this connection, you call this life. But it is not life. It is the simulation of life. It is the documentation of a life that exists only to be documented. It is the archive of experiences that never occurred. the map with no territory, the menu with no meal, the profile with no person. Here is what I offer you. Not hope, not salvation, but clarity. Stop waiting for reality to return. Stop hoping that someday you will put down the phone and experience the world unmediated. Stop thinking that Instagram is something separate from life that you can opt out of. Instagram is life now, or rather, Instagram is the form that life takes in the age of simulation. And there is no alternative form available. You were born too late, or too early, or exactly when you were supposed to be born, into exactly the world you were always going to inherit. The murder happened, you missed it, you were looking at your phone, and now you live in the aftermath, in the world Instagram made, where places are locations, experiences are content, people are profiles, and reality is whatever has the most likes. This is not dystopia, this is not tragedy, this is just the world, the only world you have, the only world there is. You can rage against it, you can mourn what was lost, you can delete your apps and move to the woods and pretend you have escaped. But you have not escaped, because the woods have coordinates, and coordinates can be geotagged, and geotagging means content, and content means Instagram. Even if you are not on Instagram, someone else is. Someone else is posting the woods, turning them into a location, making them Instagrammable. There is nowhere left that is not a potential background. No experience that cannot be converted into content. No life that is not lived at least partly for documentation. The simulation is total, the murder is complete, and you are dancing on the grave too. You are holding the camera, you are arranging the flowers, you are adjusting the lighting, and you are calling this morning, you are calling this remembrance, you are calling this life. But it is not life, it is Instagram. And Instagram is all there is. Welcome to the desert. Welcome to the hyperreal. Welcome to the world after reality. It looks good in photos, and that ultimately is all that matters. The image of life has replaced life, and the replacement is permanent. And it is beautiful, and it is terrible, and it is the only thing left. You wanted to live, but you settled for looking like you live. And Instagram sold you the filter that made the deception perfect. Reality died, and you posted about it, and you got likes, and you called it living. And in a world where images are all there is, perhaps you were right, perhaps that is living, perhaps the simulation is life, perhaps there never was anything else. Perhaps Instagram did not kill reality. Perhaps Instagram revealed that reality was always dead, always a construction, always a performance. And Instagram just made the performance explicit, made the construction visible, made the death official. The rainbow bagel was never food. The Eiffel Tower was never a place. Your relationship was never private. Your face was never unfiltered. Your life was never unmediated. Instagram did not change these things. Instagram just showed you what they always were, and now you cannot unsee it. The murder has been witnessed. The body has been found, and you are the detective, the witness, the accomplice, and the victim. All at once, all the time, forever. Scroll, post, like, repeat. This is living now. This is all living is. This is all living ever was. Instagram killed reality. Long live Instagram.